I've seen people go 1,500 ppfd before.
When you say bump up the lights, does that mean ppfd is what's coming out of the light, or do I measure it at the light level?
At the plant canopy level, and here's the big deal. We also talk about flattening up that canopy. If you go, up to the tip-top bud, it could be 1,900, 2,000 ppfd. Then if you go to where the rest of your canopy is, it could be 900. So yeah, that's why we talk about flattening out the canopy, but ppfd is your biggest factor for getting big, fat, frosty buds.
Okay, this next one is the thing that you taught me was overcomplicated.
Yeah.
It really intimidated me. Looking at complicated feeding schedules.
Yeah, this is where they make the money. What do they sell you? A light one time? They're going to sell you nutrients for your entire career. Like I said, this used to be a very profitable business. So you would go in and what they call buying dreams. Somebody would say you need this humic and this fulvic. And if you use these aminos, they really make the plant go crazy. But the truth is, I am a professional grower. I have 20 acres of bamboo down in Florida. And you learn very quickly. To be honest with you, when I first got the nursery, I asked the guy that was help me set it up. I go, where are we going to put the tanks for pH up and down? And he just looked at me like, what? I was like, oh, I'm not a wheat grower. But you don't do that kind of stuff, man. You use the essential nutrients, the 17 essential nutrients, the macronutrients, the N, P, and K, your secondaries, your calcium, magnesium, and sulfur, and then all those micronutrients that need to be just available in the smallest amounts. That's what you need, man. Everything else, what happens really is you go to separate it into a bunch of bottles. That used to make sense. When you're doing hydroponics, which is where a lot of this comes from, you have no buffer. You have just water, which isn't any buffer, and that water is feeding those nutrients directly to the roots. So you've got to worry about when you throw concentrated nutrients together, you have to worry about them precipitating out of solution. The best thing is like calcium and phosphorus. The reason they put them in separate bottles, they make calcium phosphate. Calcium phosphate is what your bones are made out of. It's what rocks are made out of. You don't want that. That's not plant available.
So you have to buy them separate.
Yeah, then back in the day, because they were going into a water solution, they separated everything out. And once they figured that out, they were like, hey, let's throw some humic in here. And even though humic and fulvic, fulvic is the part that sits on top of the humic, but let's make sure we separate it, sell a separate bottle. So if you're growing hydroponics, you might still need multiple bottles. You definitely still need multiple bottles, but and the 12-bottle system have kind of gone by the wayside now. There's things like general hydroponics that's always been there. That's an honest 3-bottle system. There's people that just use the Lucas formula with it, which is just the micro and the flowering formula. They use 2 bottles with it. Canna A and B, 2-bottle system. Flagrant has a 2-bottle system,
Yeah, I will say once I started using recharge with the soil microbes, it made my whole nutrient a lot less stressful. I didn't have to worry about all the stuff I was worried about before.
I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but get sick. If you take a serious antibiotic, it clears out the whatever was making you sick, but it also clears out all the good bacteria that's in your gut. Boy, you don't feel right. You feel terrible for a long time until that population builds back up. I think that's a good parallel. If you just have food in your system, if you just have food in the plant system, it's really hard to get digested. Everything better be just perfectly on. When you have microbes that are processing, we've got them lining our gut, we've got them lining the roots. Nature figures something out. It keeps going, right? Yeah, but that's what helps get everything absorbed. So you've got the actual food, the building blocks, then you have, they call them soil conditioners, and that's really what recharge is. Instead of things of food, keep it plant available, and then get it uptaken into the plant.
Okay, you mentioned media.
Yeah.
This is another thing where there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
Help me keep it simple.
Sure. I keep it real simple, but yeah, it's really the type of personality. Some folks they love it. They love to source all the ingredients and get their glacial rock dust and I only buy blood meal from this certain place because it's ethically sourced. All that stuff, you can do that if that's your jam and build the soil. Great, man. It can be a little bit complicated. There's really simple ways to do this. The easiest way is peat. They've got peat blends. I grow and peat down at the nursery in Florida. You can go buy it at Home Depot. They've got bales of pro mix there. It is peat, get a good peat. Canadian peat, much better. I say Florida peat. But Canadian peat's the gold standard. They'll mix that with a little perlite to lighten it up, some vermiculite. That's all you need. You don't need a super fancy bag of soil. I will say though, things like some of like the box farm soils, ocean forest, they're not bad. I have no problem with those.
Okay, but I've grown in peat. I was trying the dryback method, and I completely ruined my growth.
Yeah, it's just a little bit less. It's a lot less forgiving. You like to dry back. I'm in the bucket, so I don't do it as much. But back when I was growing in 10-gallon smart pots, I would definitely play with dry backs. You have to be really careful. It gets hydrophobic. It will actually suck in from the edges, and if you try to water it, it'll roll right off. Solid.
Yeah.
Strange.
Once it dried out, it wouldn't even take that water.
Yeah, and I mean, you can do it. It's not the end of the world. You can very slowly water it in, come back a little bit later. But, man, when I got to Colorado, my buddy, shout out to Corey over at Way to Grow, I said, man, I'm nervous about to keep up with these Colorado folks. And he goes, 10-gallon grow bags, 10-gallon fabric pots, rather, a can of cocoa, a can of A and B. And it was so easy. Cocoa core is my media of choice. It's so easy. It just has the best properties where when it's completely saturated, it'll drain out. It still holds a bunch of air, which is really important. It's just a great media. I love the moisture retention capabilities of it. I love the idea that, like I said, you saturate it and it can still very quickly. It drains and holds a bunch of air. It's really good stuff.
And with cocoa too, I noticed my roots just explode because it was less. Like I've tried growing in compact.
Yeah.
Cocoa, my roots go crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, good quality cocoa. I've always, because I have the real bucket system, it'd be so great to ship them with cocoa. I have tried every cocoa brick on the market other than Canna. Canna started putting their cocoa in a brick and it's excellent quality. But buy good cocoa. Do not cheap out on it. Honestly, buy Canna cocoa. If you want a no-brainer, no affiliation with me or anything. But it has to be washed and buffered. Cocoa's grown in saltwater areas. A lot of times they'll throw them down like brackish water to the processing plant, so they're loaded with sodium. Sodium will push out and lock out other nutrients. Of course, salt water is not good for plants. So they have to wash it, and washing it takes a lot of water. Sometimes they wash it 3 or 4 times. It's not that easy if you're in some of these parts of the world. And then they buffer it. They'll pour a calcium solution on there, and just the way that cation exchange works, it gets off the sodium. Sodium's a single positive charge. Calcium's a double positive. So it'll kick that off, and that's how you get a really good cocoa.
Or not everybody does that.
No, a lot of people do not. Like I said, Canna cocoa, and I'm trying to think of.
I think AC Infinity has a pretty good.
Yeah, AC Infinity is a good cocoa, and then Coco Loco. I tried some of that with the real buckets. I gotta give it the thumbs up, man. It was one of the best performers. A nice guy, Kenny's garden. Hey, but those are just my 3 tips for how not to overcomplicate your grow. But come on, what about you? Give me one thing that you have simplified in your grow. Let me know in the comments. And come on, if you dug this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this one with another grower you know, and check out the other couple of videos YouTube's recommending because we think you'll dig them.
No, move that out. I'm doing something. It's on pop. And you need to go to sleep.
What's wrong?
I was trying to see if you made it.
Yeah, I made it already. Shit.
They already working you.
Well, I'm gonna have fun today, boy.
Mm.
They done fucked up all my pilots, man. They done fucked it up. I'm about to send you a picture. Let me downstack this shit real quick, boy.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, I love you.
I'm sorry. I love you too.
You're alright.
Julia, what are you talking about? What? 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 What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Come here. What's the matter, chitter chatter? You know, she did it that.
Hey, Sammy!
To another creepy experience TikTok reaction video. I'm Just Chuck, and if you haven't already, smash that like and subscribe button. Today, we on these frigid waters. Let's go.
I'm moving. I'm completely upside down. That's me in the mirror. And, yeah, I just took. Cool. Get up, just in case. There goes my face. That's all right. I can be standing here with a broken leg right now. Well, this is you solve or heal bipolar disorder. You erase 80-90% of the world's greatest art.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to No Magic Pill. I'm Blake Mykoski. You'd think the most dangerous place in the world for a renowned photographer and mountain climber would be in an avalanche in the Himalayas. But for Corey Richards, the most frightening place he's ever been was inside his own mind.
Being bipolar and
Wouldn't it be crazy if this boss said, look, I need you to flip that back over because we need you to come into work today.
that's what it is.
And the park itself?
The parts itself into a boat, and then into a truck, and then that truck's gonna go into that truck.
Oh my God.
That truck's gonna go into that speed, and that truck's gonna go down the hill.
That's what it is. That's why you gotta turn your wheels all the way to the side. If you don't do it in California, they'll literally give you a ticket. That's the main reason why they want you, if you park on any hill, it's a good practice anyway. Anyway, if you park on any hill, turn your wheel all the way to the right or left. Or it could be just to the right or just to the left. I don't know. But make sure your wheel is completely turned. So if something does like that happen, you'll just, roll to the side and you won't completely go down the hill. That was nuts. I wonder who's actually going to be responsible for that. That entire domino effect. Your thoughts below. That looks extremely dangerous. This looks like that could blow up. That's that hazmat. Y'all better, man. This is dangerous. Let me go back. I didn't mean to interrupt it, but I just wanted to stress how dangerous that was. Look at that. That boy might blow. And I'll say this too. Y'all gotta slow down. If the roads are completely covered and you can barely see in front of you, slow down. You shouldn't be going faster than 40, to be honest. What's more important, shaving 10 or 20 minutes or something bad happens? Honestly, think about it.
Oh Lord.
Only one thing comes to mind. That was pure pandemonium. If I can give you one word for that, it would be